evening, everyone. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on July 2nd, 2024. It is 9:04 p.m. Whether you're with me now in the p.m. or 9:04 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. or 12 noon or 12 midnight, doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for being with me here on Inspirations for Your Life. It's great to be with you. I do want to thank again Jen Drummond for being with us yesterday. It was an amazing show we had learning about resilience and how we can climb our proverbial mountains in life, even if we don't climb a mountain like Jen does all the time. We still have mountains in our own life. So let's get into talking about the master topic of the week. That's keys to perseverance. And we're on series three, show 27. And we'll get into what that is in just a minute because I think this is a very, how can I say, a very, very important thing to understand that life has sometimes throws us things that we may not necessarily like. Okay. We may not necessarily like that. And so maybe it comes down to, some other things. Maybe it comes down to some things that maybe we're not aware of. But the one thing is, um, we know that the challenge is going to make us become even better, right? Even better. So that's really an amazing thing, ladies and gentlemen. And I can tell you that it's all about your resilience, right? Your resilience is the key, everyone. It is the key. So tonight's topic is what are the barriers to resilience? We've talked about resilience, it's really required for success, but what are the barriers that prevent us from being resilient? So, one of them is long term health issues. So, we always say if you don't have your health, you definitely don't have your wealth. So, you want to make sure that you are very, very healthy. That's important. And so, when we think about long term physical health, whether you're adapting something, you're eating well, you're treating your body well. I mean, when you're younger, a lot of people don't treat their body well because they feel that it's not really that important. But as we get older, we learn that we should be treating our body well. Luckily, I learned right after college that it's important to treat our body well. And when we treat our body well, it's pretty amazing to understand what's going on and why things are happening a certain way, but we don't necessarily know all the ins or even the outs of things. But what we do know is that it's something that a lot of people don't think about all the time. Um, so definitely important to understand, what we have and what we don't have. But I think it comes back to a main thing, and the main thing it comes back to is who you are. Okay, who you are in life. And so when we think about our health is a big proponent to basically whether we're going to be successful or not. So again, we are talking today about what are the barriers to resilience. That's what we're talking about tonight. The next barrier to resilience, which we said resilience is important for success, the next barrier, whether you believe it or not, is a very, very important barrier, and that's understanding any mental health problems. Mental health problems can really set you back. So, what are mental health problems? Well, there are things like generalized anxiety disorder, depression, post traumatic stress disorder, eating disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, schizophrenia. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. Mental disorder characterized by recurring episodes of psychosis that are correlated with general misperceptions of reality. Bipolar disorder, where you're like a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Dissociative disorder, a range of conditions characterized by disruptions or fragmentations in the normal integration of consciousness, memory, identity, emotion, perception, body representation, motor controls, and even behavior. And of course, you got personality disorders, right? These are some. So we want to make sure that we have good health physically and mentally. All right. The next thing we want to talk about is something else that can affect us from being resilient, and that is facing discrimination. So when we talk about discrimination, I'm talking about things like maybe you were subject to hate, maybe racism, maybe any kind of homophobia, biphobia, transphobia. So we shouldn't discriminate for race, religion, sexual orientation, creed, color. And I think when these things happen, it attacks on the character of who we are as a person. And that character breaks us down and says, gee, this is who I am, but I'm not anything if I believe that this is a problem or I shouldn't be this way. So I think that's a big problem for a lot of people. Um, they identify with something, and then when somebody else, like a friend or somebody else, kind of knocks them, it's like, oh my gosh, like then my whole life must be wrong. But it's not for anyone else to tell you that your life is right or your life is wrong. It's for you to figure out whether your life is wrong. And I would say to you, if you have a purpose in life and you're happy doing what you're doing and not harming or hurting anyone, guess what? You're fine. You just have to realize if you're on the purpose that you're here to do, and if you are feeling fulfilled with the life that you are living. Another thing that can block us from being resilient is loneliness. Loneliness, some people get lonely, some people don't get lonely. So that's a pretty, interesting one. But loneliness bothers a lot of people. In fact, if you're a serial entrepreneur, you're going to get lonely, but you have to realize to get around that. And you have to learn how to be your own best friend. Is loneliness a mental health problem? What isn't a mental health problem, but having a mental health problem can increase feelings of loneliness, just to let you know. So, avoid social events and activities you usually enjoy. That's a problem for you wanting to get this loneliness stat. Have low self esteem. You find it hard to try new things and worry about engaging with others. What are they going to say? That kind of thing. What are they going to think of me? Find it difficult to speak to people about how you're feeling for fear of a stigma or not being understood. Feel like maybe you could be a burden to others or feel overwhelmed in a busy public place or at work events or even parties. So it's important that you choose to interact with people, not because you have to, but because you want to. And I think the people that actually experience loneliness have either had some type of a bad brush when they were younger with somebody, knocking them off and saying, hey, you know what, you're not good at this or you're not welcome here. That's not good. And so if you don't nip that in the bud early, that can basically stay with you your entire life. And that can become a disorder that can prevent you from achieving success and definitely block you from being resilient. So another thing that can block you from being resilient is financial worries. It happens. So again, the key is to embrace what you're doing in life. That is really the key. And as you embrace what you're doing, you have to realize that what you're doing is for a purpose. And when your purpose helps other people to solve their problems, their challenges, or even to just have a better life, well, you're going to have a better life. Because I've always said when we help others, we wind up helping ourselves. Now, when you help others, a lot of times there is a charge involved, right? If you're now you can help people as well and not charge, but if it's a business venture and you're charging for something, then when you provide services that help others, it's going to cause you to reap the benefits. Another thing that can block resilience, ladies and gentlemen, is lack of access to quality health care. There are millions of people in our world that do not have quality health care. They can't get it. They can't get their teeth cleaned, or when they have an issue. I mean, we take for granted that I know, like the moment I feel one bit of tartar and I'm like, okay, I got to go to the dentist. Some people are not like that, and it's because they didn't have access to good healthcare. I find it to be such a pleasure to go to the dentist. I know you might think I'm crazy, but going to the dentist and having them take off the tartar and just feeling great, that's amazing for me. Some people think I'm nuts, but I love to take care of my teeth. I mean, I brush my teeth. I After I brush, first I floss my teeth, then I brush my teeth, then I water pick my teeth, then I brush again. So it's important to take care of your body and who you are, right? That's very important. Another thing that can block resilience, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be poor living conditions. Poor living conditions. So, poor living conditions can be a big reason for why you're not resilient, because you just can't get to where you want to be because you keep having challenges of just trying to get anywhere in life. So I think that's a very big challenge that you have to realize. And if you realize it, then maybe you'll start to change. Um, I think a lot of people worry about the look of success, but they don't think about success internally. They just look about how it's going to look to others. Who cares about how it looks to others? You just have to work on how it's going to feel for you. What does success mean to you? What does that freedom mean to you? See, a lot of people want success not because of the money, they want it because they want the freedom. I think that's a big reason that people want success. All right. They want to have more freedom. And I think that's a very important thing. It might be something that maybe you don't get, but I'll tell you that it's very important to understand that we have to understand what it means, okay, to be in a state of resilience, which we're going to talk, definitely going to talk more about resilience, okay? But resilience is the key, ladies and gentlemen, to your success. It is the key to your success. And I'll tell you that a lot of people don't quite get what success is about. Get it? They look at what somebody else has and they think, well, then I've got to have success this way, right? Or that way. So I think those are interesting things. Now, when we think about life and we think about, things like poor living conditions, I mean, many of us are very fortunate. We have great living conditions, but some people don't. Another thing that will stifle resilience is unsafe environments. It could be a domestic violence situation. It could be um, another relationship issue where you want to let the person down easy, or maybe it's a person that you just want to get rid of, but you don't want to hurt their feelings, but you want to disconnect in a way that's abrupt enough, but that's not going to hurt them. And really, a lot of people care that you hurt somebody, because if you hurt somebody, a lot of people worry, like, how's that person going to be? Even though I may not be with that person, how are they going to be after me? Like, are they going to be able to handle life, or are they going to be a basket case? Right? I think those are very important things. All right. So thinking about resilience, and I thought this would be very important to share with everyone, is that resilience. Let's think of like maybe it could be a Nerf ball. You've all played with Nerf balls, or maybe you played with those little what do they call those? Those little Nerf um, little pressing things, and you squeeze them down, or even a ball, stress relief ball. So when the ball or the little little air puff there, Nerf puff is actually totally extended, or the ball is totally out extended, then it's in a stress free state, right? When we squeeze the ball, okay, and then when we release the ball, you know what happens when we release the ball? When we release the ball, it actually causes the ball or the container or whatever it is to go back to its original shape. So resilience is for us to go back to our great state, because maybe something in the world trips us up. It could, and the reason it trips us up is because maybe we're sensitive. Maybe somebody said something and we didn't like it, or maybe they weren't appropriate with the way they handle things. Maybe, I mean, I'm just saying. And so when we start to understand that our life is like that ball, or like that Nerf little thing that we shoot, and we hold it, the more stress we put on it, the more it stays in. But the more when we let go, it's like it starts to go back to its natural state. And so what happens is, when somebody is out of a natural state for a very long time, it could take longer for the resilience to come back. Like if you held that thing for a very long time, right? Like let's say you held it for a few days, the ball may not come back like within a couple seconds. It might take a few minutes. So this is the thing I want you to understand, is that resilience gets better with practice. So when we go from one state and we bounce back, we're resilient. So the more that we're able to bounce back, we will then develop the ability to be quicker at bouncing back. I think that's really cool. So right now, if you have a, like I said, a Nerf, or if you have one of those balls and you squeeze it, think of that like your life right now. Think of that like, maybe something's going wrong. Maybe it's a relationship challenge. And all of a sudden, it's like you just let it go and you start to get back to what I'll consider a normal state, a state where you're not stressed, a state where you're not worrying. So we're talking a lot about resilience because resilience is something, it's a factor that you need to be successful in life. We're all gonna get lemons sometimes, and maybe we can't always make them lemonade, but we have to at least try. And maybe making lemonade might not take a day, it might not take 2 days, it might not take a week, it might take a month. But the more we work at it, the quicker we're going to be able to get lemonade out of our lemons. Okay, so that's very important. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's been a privilege, been a pleasure, been an honor to be with you this fantastic, amazing evening, which, by the way, you know what that is? We are on July 2nd, which is Tuesday evening. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your night. Be sure to check out my hat or the QR code, believemeachieve.com. More of my amazing, inspiring creations. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow, July 3rd, the day before July 4th. And we'll have another topic about the lines on resilience, because there's still more to share with you. And then on Friday, we'll sum everything all up, including the stuff that Jen had said back on Monday. And we'll put it all together in a nice big package, and you'll be able to hopefully appreciate that and apply that to your life. Have yourself an amazing rest of your evening, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. All right, everyone, sleep well, or if you're watching me another time, well, I hope that the content comes to you at just the right time, that it can affect your life so you can become a better version of yourself. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.